You said the Matrix would light our darkest hour.
I can't deal with that now.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Magic Square MS-P02 Transporter version 2. It is 100% completely parts forming to make a different type of Ultra Magnus. This thing is actually pretty cool. There's a lot of engineering that went into this, and this engineering is years old. They have got to have worked on this many years ago when they first made their first Prime. They had this ready to go. It's really interesting how it happened. If you're into parts forming, you're going to love this. If you hate parts forming, you might just want to sit and watch how it works. But anyway, I'm going to get into this. I got this at Shows It. You can get yours there too. They do not have the white version of Prime. I'm going to discuss that. Magic Square did not reissue the Prime that's supposed to go with this, so I used an Optimus Prime, and we can kind of see the end result of using Optimus Prime with this instead of the other version. Let's get into it. Okay, so here is the trailer, and overall it looks pretty decent. It looks like a pretty decent trailer for an Ultra Magnus, but it is 100% parts forming. So this thing completely comes apart into, I don't know, 20, 30 pieces. I don't know exactly how many it comes apart into, but it comes into a lot of pieces and parts. And part of that is you get a little bit more open space inside here, and they sort of hide some stuff a little bit better. Like some of the stuff that was exposed on their first release is hidden down here, the pelvis and kind of stuff, the butt flap pelvis, the head's right there. And then there's nice big open spaces where it would hitch to the truck. So it is a little bit better in a way. Parts forming can work, and parts forming can make for a much cleaner trailer. I don't feel like it's the most solid. I think if you move it around too much, or you use it too much, or it will kind of separate. You're going to have to retighten things up. So it's not a super solid because of the parts forming. And the other thing about this is that mine arrived in the package, and it ships like this, but when it's jolted around in the package and stuff, everything's separated. So when I opened it up, it was all parts I had to re-put together in this. And re-putting this together looks like it might be an easy task, but these instructions are not the best. And some of the parts are similar looking to each other. So basically, you just have to look at it and look at a picture of what it's supposed to look like and go, okay, this goes there, that goes there. And that, I think, is way easier than using the instructions. Some of the details on this I want to point out is you do get the missiles right here, and they do look like there's some sort of tab, so you could possibly use the forward facing, maybe. I don't really know. I didn't do that at all, but that works. You have this interior part here, so there's red, and then there's a little bit of paint there, and the paint doesn't 100% match the blue. It's really hard to do to paint something to match the plastic, so we'll see that more in the robot mode. On the back, you do have some tail lights, and you do get this to fold down. Now this is another place where these things are just plugged in right here. They're tabbed in, so it's a parts forming situation, but you get that. And with that, you can kind of roll on a Bumblebee or something. Now, they don't really make figures small enough to really go in this, so maybe I can slide Bumblebee in on the side, and then you're going to flex it to where it starts to fall apart. But anyway, you get the idea. You can sort of fake it till you make it with this trailer a little bit better than you could have with the other one. The other one really didn't fit anything on there. So if that's something that you want to do, it's something you want to do. Those are new age on a Magic Square trailer. Here's how he stacks up side by side next to the Optimus Prime trailer, and sort of close to the same size in a way. But the Optimus Prime trailer is all solid. This has a lot of air gaps inside with the parts forming, and all you're getting with this is the trailer. So it's kind of one of those things, but there it is. You got to get a side-by-side with the trailer right there. So I'm sure the next question is, Mike, why are you not showing this with the white cab? Because I don't have the white cab. So with that, I didn't really feel like it was worth all of the time and effort to flip him one way and then flip him back, just to show Optimus Prime toting the trailer for Ultra Magnus. I just think that was kind of a waste of time, so I didn't do that. Now, I do want to take a quick second before we get into disassembling this and putting the parts on Optimus Prime. I want to say that I'm shocked Magic Square didn't reissue the white version, which you need to get for this. The only way to get it that I see, you've got to source it on the secondary market. Sourcing stuff on the secondary market usually tends to have a much higher price. And so those of you who would source it right when this was announced got it a lot cheaper than if you're getting it right now. I just believe that they're eventually going to reissue another Prime, the white Prime or the Ultra Magnus or whatever, eventually, but I don't see it anywhere right now. And the reason it's not a big deal to me is because I have this Prime. So I bought this guy thinking, okay, it's a pretty good looking Prime. Then they come out with the metallic. I didn't think the metallic looked good. The super shiny one looks really good, and I don't have a lot of light on this because this. Anyway, I already have them, so no big deal to me. All right, so getting into disassembling this so that you can use his parts, I'm going to go ahead and start with the feet. So it's pretty cool how it's set up. You can just kind of take parts off at a time if that's what you want to do. Now you're going to have to sort of do some stuff with the feet here. So we're going to fold, get the toe kind of moved around and realigned, and then you got to fold this piece in. Let's see, how about like that? That'll be a good way to fold that piece in, and then fold this out. And there's some bit of movement that's going to have to happen on this toe there. Now we're going to put in this one, fold this down first thing, and then this is going to slide out of the way so that we can slide the foot in. And you've got to get the toe adjusted down on that joint. That's a tight joint too. There it goes. Adjust that toe down so that it fits in there, and it fits in there. You're going to slide this up like so, flip this around, and it's a foot done. And I got to say, the blues sort of match on this better than they match on some of these other things. Okay, next up, we're going to do the same thing over here. Fold this down, and then I guess we can flip this right now. Then we're going to fold this down. We're going to partially open this up, tuck this piece in right there, close that back up, and then we're going to fold down on this joint here. That's a tight joint too. There it goes. That's probably the hardest part about the feet, is just getting that joint aligned right. Then tab that in, fold this back up, and we have the feet. And I don't know, maybe using an Optimus Prime is going to give you a better look than you got with using the white version, because these blues sort of match. They made these blues sort of match. So, all right, what are we going to do next? Well, I guess we're going to do the feet. Let's disconnect this piece here, pull that off, get the legs more or less, and that thing just fell off. Okay, so how does this work? More or less, you fold this piece here down, and then you're going to fold his leg to that extreme ankle rocker, and you're going to put this on. And I think showing it from the back's easier to see. So there it is. You can see that hook hooking into it, and then there it goes, and that's on there, nice and easy. And then the same thing on the other side. So we're going to fold this hook down so it hooks into place, and then we're going to slide it on, and yeah, it's easier from the back. And I'm really starting to think that this blue is the exact same blue. That is trippy. It's matching really well. It really does match well. So that's on there. Okay. And then what we're going to do next is put a panel. So this panel that was right here looks to go to the inside of the leg. So we're gonna see which one goes to which side based on where everything's lining up. And so this one clipped in okay. This other one's not kind of tabbing in very well. All right, so on the inside here, this looks to be the right one. Tab that in. Now that tabs in really well. There we go. And then on this side over here, put that in place. Tab that one in. And You almost really wouldn't need those pieces, I guess, if you're using prime. And I don't know why that's not tabbing in. I'm going to take a quick second to see why this isn't clipping in as well as the other side. And we're back. So right here, this tab piece sort of clips into there, and that gives it a little bit more solidity. It just sort of happened on its own with the other one, and so with that one I had to help it along a little bit more. Now, we've got some thighs. So there are his thighs. Pop them off of there as we go. Which one goes to which? Looks like this one goes on this side. All right, so this is where we can pull this up. And let's lift these flaps, because I don't know if this is what's going to get in the way of the thighs. And all right, so that should slide onto there, like so. And then this side here should slide onto here, like so. There we go. It's shaping up nicely, and it's not looking like any issues using a prime. So no prime suspects. Okay, we've got some pieces here. We're going to pull this off and this off. I think this one tabs in a little different. Let me see here. Uh-oh. Starting to fall apart on me. Hold on. Well, I do want to point out something as I'm untabbing these parts and pieces. So a lot of pieces of the trailer are connected, and once you connect them together, they're connecting to 2 or 3 or 4 pieces are connecting to one part, and as you remove one part, the rest are going to start to fall off. So that's just kind of part of it in a way. So that's just things the way they are. And at this point, we really should just take the rest of this trailer apart, and we get these 2 pieces out of there. And then inside here, there's really small hip flaps that just stow away. They just stow away. So we're going to get into all of this as we tear this apart and destroy it. All right, so where we're at right now is we have these parts. So we're going to work with all of these parts, separate this to get basically a front and a back. Looking at this here, you have just kind of a side filler, and we're going to connect all of this together over his chest, but I think we need to do the waist first. And we're going to push this piece here down. Well, we got to push it through. It needs to go through this and just hang out on the back, more or less. That's how that would work. Pull it up, push that through the back. And then this, I believe this just kind of hangs out in the back. We'll see if I can hide that a little better once it's in its full combined mode. All right, so this waist piece simply just converts to this. So there's one of the parts. And then remove his head and do not lose it. So we'll set that right back here. And then that's pretty much ready to go for the butt flap, I think. That's all it needs. And then these 2 flaps, let's see, how do you differentiate which one's front and which one's back? And I do believe you differentiate by the one that looks with a bigger gap. So the one with the bigger gap in it would be the front. Let's go ahead and put those on. There we go. There's one. And then the other one. The other one is right here. I'm going to put that guy on right here. I think this is a situation where we need to do the butt flap first. So here's the butt flap. And there's a tab right here and a slot right there. And so just stick it in there. And it tabs in. That's got a nice tight tab. So that feels right. And so from there, this is how this piece is going to tab into the butt flap that's in there really good. And that's how it all holds together, more or less. So we're getting close. Getting close. Feels like we're almost there, right? So here's the back piece, and the same situation here. So this is the same exact situation where you put his back piece on. And now that that's on, I can see, can we hide this little tabby piece a little bit? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth going through a lot of trouble with anyway. And then slide this over the front. Okay, this is where you're going to have to broaden his shoulders a bit. This is where that extreme level of articulation with this figure comes in. Well, I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure, they had to have had this planned for a while. So, oh, that's not lining up just right. So I got to figure this out. How is that not lining up? So, oh, there it goes. Just up a little higher, tab it in there, and then tab it in, tab it in, tab it in. And then we are getting close. This is almost like one of those where, like Optimus Prime's wearing Starscream's head and his his parts. We're getting into this. It feels pretty good getting this close. Okay, so the next thing that we've got to do is we got to start working on his arms and his head and a few of these other parts. So on here, we're going to separate off these parts. Now, this is where you're gonna, parts are just gonna keep flying off. So just accept it, I guess. And then separate the gun off. And the rest of this we can use later. Let's go ahead and take these pieces off. The rest we're gonna use later for extra armoring, but I just really wanna get to the base first, and then the basic, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so we've got, it's as simple as this. These pieces slide on the shoulders, but I think that we should have the smooth look to it if you want, or you can have the painted look to it as you want. I actually like the painted look, and it's interesting too because the box shows, if you can look up there, the box shows the painted on it, but on one side but not the other, and then it shows, so it's just interesting how it goes. It's up to you and your own personal preference, and we can easily just swap them to see which way looks the best and that you prefer the aesthetic. So let's get those put on there. So there's 2 tabs inside of here. Let's get just the right amount of light so you can see 2 tabs and 2 notches on his shoulder. So those kind of have to line up just right and go into place. That is terrible. You have to put the flat side on that side. So you can't put the silver accents on the front. It's just, they don't tab in right. So I wanted the silver accents on the front. I don't get that option online. That kind of sucks. Anyway, we can also put his shoulder pieces on, which I'm probably jumping the gun. I probably should have waited as like the cherry on the top there, but. And here's another piece right here. Now we have to remove the head, and we have to remove the hands. And I tried trying to figure out, is there a way I could possibly do this and just roll the hands into it? But I'm just gonna toss all that stuff back in the box, I guess. So we gotta convert. I hate that term. We gotta transform this hand, and it is transform. I don't care if you're a third-party company or you're Hasbro. I don't give up on the term Transformers, so. Okay, that popped off. I feel a little bit of trouble sliding his wrist over. Well, go the opposite direction too. It's supposed to go on this way, so I don't know why it's having so much trouble going on. There we go, and then it taps into that, so. It's just everything's so tight. So there it is, get the hand adjusted right, and do the other side a little smoother, I hope. But so basically, we're gonna retransform this. All right, so on the other side, I guess I jumped the gun on those pieces. Forearms gave me more trouble than I thought they would. That's terrible, but anyway. We're going to slide it over, and then you can see from the bottom how it will sort of tab into the arm, like that. You can close it up. All right, so we're getting really close, and we're almost there. This piece fell off, and that kind of sucked, but this piece goes back on, and then you have the final head reveal. Come on, guys, can I get a head reveal here? All I've been wanting all these years is Ultra Magnus's head reveal, and there it is. That looks exactly like what I thought. Exactly what I thought it would look like. Put his gun in here, and we're going to take a look at him with his giant cannon coming up. All right, so here he is in his bot mode. So what we're going to do is take a look at him, his articulation. Then we're going to do some comparisons, and then I'm going to show you what to do with those extra parts and call it a day on him. So looking at this dude, he does look pretty good. I think he does look pretty good. And once he's put together, all of his parts hold in place. Part of it is because some of the parts, for the most part, connect to themselves and tab in together that's where you get the solid parts, and then some of the other parts just tab right on them. So it's a tight fit, like with the forearms and a couple of these things, but overall it's not that bad. It's really not a horrible parts forming situation. So the parts forming on this isn't really that bad. So it's a good way to do it, and the first time I've ever seen a truly 100% parts forming version of this guy. So we did kind of already look at his face, which it looks pretty good. You don't get any additional stuff. You don't get an extra head sculpt. You don't get any of that kind of stuff. Looking at his chest, one of the things, and we'll see in a comparison, is the KO oversize of the first Magic Square. They kind of got rid of the windows here. They don't have windows, but they have some sort of a reflected film or something right there. This mostly 100%, it's like 89% plastic color and a little bit of paint accents here and here. And then kind of carries over from the alt mode and stuff. But overall, he looks pretty good. I would have liked to have had the silver stuff on the front, or just the option to, if hey, I want that to go on right there. It is interesting, if you look at this right now, with Optimus Prime on it, you probably is the better way to go. If you look at this, the blues are exactly the same. So from the back, that looks exactly like it should. And then when you look at the chest piece, or up under here, you can see it from the back, it's all red. So I think Prime, I mean, at first I thought, should I even do the review if I just have the Prime? I think it's better with the Prime. So that kind of worked out too. What kind of articulation does this big dude have? And just, you know, the usual head on a tab. That's all it's got. Not a whole lot in this shoulder bit. You lose articulation with the armor on it. That's just all there is to it. So what you had before, you lose. And he does not have independent fingers. You do have that ab crunch, and again, we're already using half of the ab crunch space to put the armor on, so this guy is going to lose some. It's cool too, though, that the lower piece is, he's got half of his abs there, and he does the ab crunch there, so you really don't lose any sort of, well, you don't break the sculpt up at all. So that's an interesting idea how they did that. All right, the flaps flip up a bit. You got a double flap here, so you got to be real careful when you do the forward leg movement. So I would say do not push your forward or rear leg movement, because they're holding together. So I think you lose quite a bit of your leg movement. So that might be a hindrance for you. You do have the same articulation right here, and you still have quite a bit of knee range though, and so you can get some interesting kind of stances and poses and stuff like that. Then down here you do have some ankle tilt and all that, but it is less than the Prime, because you're basically taking up the space with these extra parts. So let's get into quick comparison time. This is the KO oversized McFan's Toys version, and I gotta say they're about the same size. This McFan's Toys version is skinnier and sleeker because it's not the armor, but not that much skinnier and that much sleeker, and so it's kind of how, you know, which one do you like better? Like, seriously, I'm just gonna spin these guys around, let you look them over and see which one you think looks better. Like the legs here, you see a bunch of kind of opening to it. This is more solid, but of course I'm not as concerned about the back. The back part looks more like you'd expect an Ultra Magnus, and this is the cab. So from the side there, I don't know, it does look a little bit better than the previous version, but I'm going to be honest, this first version I thought was great. I didn't really have any issues with it, and for a Legend scale figure I thought it was pretty good, but this is going to be my new Ultra Magnus though. But it's a Prime in a Magnus suit, Edgar suit. I'm going to name this shot before and after. This is what he looked like. Well, he looked like this minus the shine. So this is kind of where he went and where he, you know, became. He started at the bottom and now he's here. So that's kind of the difference right there, size-wise and scale-wise. But I do want to put in the McFan's Toys version of Cyclonus, because these two are best friends, and they go out and they hang out in junkyards together. They look for parts for their old vehicles. So there they are. That's how they size and scale, and they go up against each other. So if you're into displaying them like that, and then of course, Bumblebee, that's just a little Bumble. And to get on to messing around with all this fun, massive armor and stuff, we've got this piece here, and you're going to kind of fold this tab around, and then you're going to turn him around, and on his new back, he has a tab right here. You tab that in, you plug it in, and you have there. Same thing over here. We're going to pull this one down, fold it around. There's a bit of articulation on it, but I don't know. I don't really see he's going to stand here. I just don't see Ultra Magnus as the kind of guy that's like, I'm going to stand here and let my guns move. I'm going to move my guns. I don't know. There it is. Then these other pieces over here, so we have kind of a transforming, pull this missile rocket piece here out, and then you fold this around. You've got that. And let's see, we're gonna slide this down over this, and then I guess my piece fell off here. So this tabs into, where does this tab into? Tabs into that, like so. And then, which side goes where? This looks like it's his right side. You gotta pull this missile off. And okay, so there's the tab into this hole, get it right there. So we're super arming him up. And then we're going to plug that in over here, and there's a hole right here. A tab here. Oh, can you see it? And then a hole where that was, and then that plugs in, like so. And so he's getting super armored up. He's gonna be a little off balance for a second. And let's do the other one really fast here. Okay, so we need to transform this out, and we need to fold this over, and then we need to fold this to the back, like so, and then this piece is gonna fold out like a wing, I guess. We're gonna unclip this, clip this in, and tab that in. And there we go. All armored up. All super armored up. And I don't know, do you like this look? I think that you can move these a little bit, however you want. I don't know. What's the whole... Okay, maybe you can't move those. They tab into place. They tab in like this. But it's kind of like we got these leftover parts from the trailer. What do we do with them? Ugh. It does make them a little off balanced to do this. And I don't know if it was worth it, but I mean, it's better than just having extra parts just lay around that you have nothing that you can do with. It's crazy. It's an option. It won't be getting any play on my shelf. These are going back in the box, but I do like the Magnus. It's pretty cool. So this is my look at the MS-B31 transporter, the second version of Ultra Magnus from Magic Square, and I think it's a pretty good figure. I think it's interesting how they went about it. It's completely different than anything I've ever messed with in the Masterpiece scale, third-party scale, Legends scale. And would I like them to do this to their existing Prime? Well, heck yeah, I would love that. But this is an interesting looking figure. They did a pretty good job with it. The instructions suck, so that's that. But overall, you can just watch this video and you'll figure out how to do it. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Are you still anti-parts forming? Are you praising parts forming? Do you think it was a good idea they did this, or are you just happy with their first version? Let me know. Like, subscribe. Titanium Hanger out.
But Prime, I'm just a soldier. I'm not worthy.
Autobots, prepare to board the shuttles. Somehow we must destroy it before it devours Cybertron. Get the Dinobots in the shuttle. What choice do we have? Say something. Anybody. Decepticons. We've got to draw them off and double back to the shuttle.
Open.
Damn it, open!